right, and welcome back to another operaomnia video where we're going to be going over the new featured LD character, the protector of Princess Ovelia, the Holy Knight herself, Agrias Oaks. We're going to be going over her Crystal Level 80 Awakening, we're going to be going over her rework, and we're going to be going over that brand new LD. It's loaded. You guys are going to want it. We're also going to talk quickly about the event that comes with her new banner and her release. So if you guys like the content, consider liking and subscribing to Simply Lost. I am not Simply Lost. I am the Dystopia Bard, and whether he likes it or not, I'm infiltrating this video to make sure that we give Agrias the proper respect that she is due, because she's considered meta. And why is she considered meta? Well, we're going to delve into that right here, right now. Let's have some fun. So, the whole thing about Agrias, well, she's pity-worthy. It doesn't matter what anybody else says. It doesn't matter what Lost is going to say after this. Make sure you pity her.
What
I don't
the
care
hell?
what
Bard,
get,
Bard, get out of here. No, get out. Bard, no, get out. All right, guys, hopefully you guys enjoy that beautifully done intro that was done by my buddy Bard. I actually asked him to do that awesome intro for me, seeing as how he is a huge fan of Final Fantasy Tactics. And since Agrias is going to be our next character to be released, seeing as how she is getting her rework and her LD weapon, I asked him to do the honors of doing the intro to this video. So shout out to him. If you want to see more of his amazing work that he has done for the community and for the Dystopia crew, make sure to check out these social media links down in the description below. Best believe you will not regret it. Some of the work that he has done is actually pretty amazing, pretty hilarious, and best believe you will not regret it. So just as like he has said in the intro of this video, yes, we're going to be talking about Agrias, we're going to be talking about her rework, and we're going to be talking about her LD weapon and whether or not it is actually worth pulling for in her upcoming banner alongside with Theodore's LD weapon. Now, Theodore is not going to be getting anything with the release of Agrias's LD weapon and her rework. So, of course, we're going to be focusing on Agrias herself. So, we're going to first start off with her rework, then her LD, and then, of course, the should you pull portion of this video. So, if you guys do enjoy the video, consider liking the video and subscribing for future operaomnia content. Let's go ahead and jump into it, guys. Let's talk about her rework, her LD weapon, and then, of course, the should you pull portion of the video. So, with Agrias's rework on her Knight's Pride, her skill 1, when using Knight's Pride, after Brave recovery based on her own max Brave, she triggers an HP attack, then she recovers Brave to herself based on 20% of the HP damage dealt, and she follows up with a 3-hit melee Brave plus an HP attack. Then she recovers a medium amount of HP to the party based on the total HP damage with a recovery limit of 35% of the max HP. With her skill 2, Judgment Blade Extend, whenever you use Judgment Blade, she has a small chance to inflict paralysis, and then whenever you use the plus version, she recovers Brave to the party based on her initial Brave before the first Brave attack, and the AoE HP attack now deals full HP damage. Agrias's LD ability, which is called Divine Ruination, it recovers Brave to the party based on 30% of her own max Brave. Then it follows up with a 3-hit AoE melee Brave plus an AoE HP attack 3 times, and it deals split HP damage. It also recovers Brave to herself based on 20% of the total HP damage dealt after each except last HP attack. It grants for 12 actions the Faith in the Princess special effect to herself. Now, after each use of her LD ability, it recovers 1 use of the Knight's Pride and Judgment Blade up to the max values, and it turns her Brave attack into Brave Attack Flower Fall, which recovers Brave to the party on 20% of their own max Brave, and is a 3-hit melee Brave plus an HP attack, and it deals 50% splash HP damage to non-targets. It recovers Brave to herself based on 30% of the HP damage dealt to the target, and it inflicts 1 action of the Flower Fall debuff to the target and reverts back to the previous state after use. Now, the debuff Flower Fall is basically a confusion debuff, makes it so that they are unable to act whenever it is the enemy's turn. But not only that, the debuff also makes it so that they also take an increase in brave damage taken and also get a bonus in HP damage taken. So the brave damage taken gives your team a 20% increase, and then the HP damage taken gets a 10% increase whenever any of your teammates or Agrias herself attacks any of the enemies inflicted with this debuff. Now, the special effect, Faith in the Princess, that is the overhead that will be above Agrias' head, to herself, it grants her a 40% attack up and a 20% brave damage dealt up. To the party, it grants the party a 20% brave damage dealt up, a 20% stolen and recovered max brave overflow limit, and a 20% brave recovered up. And it also turns her HP attack into HP attack plus, which it recovers brave to the party based on 20% of her own max brave, and it recovers brave to herself based on 50% of her own initial brave, and it's a 2-hit melee brave plus an HP attack. Now, one thing about all of these details is that her LD extension makes it so that you actually get a free use of her Flower Fall debuff. And what I mean by this is that whenever the quest begins, you actually start off with the overhead, which lasts for 6 actions, and her brave attack already has the Flower Fall ready to be used on the enemy, so it's already transformed into the brave attack Flower Fall. So you basically already have a confusion ready to be hit onto the enemies at your discretion. Basically, like, you can immediately use it on the enemies as long as you have her LD weapon fully maxed out, fully limit break. You pretty much have a free confusion at the start of the battle. Also, another thing with her LD extension is that whenever you use Divine Ruination, you get an increase in brave hits, you get an increase in brave potency by a tremendous amount, and you also get an increase in stolen brave max brave overflow limit by 30% or up to 150%. Finally, we'll talk about call abilities. Now, with her first call ability being Knight's Pride, whenever the caller uses it, the party gets a brave regen by 40% of initial brave and HP regen by 10% of max HP. Then, whenever you use the LD call ability, the call effects, which lasts for 6 actions, the party gets a 10% brave damage dealt up and a 10% stolen brave max brave overflow limit up. So now we get to the point of the video where you guys decide whether or not it is worth pulling for Agrias' LD weapon based off of what you have already heard so far in this video and what I am about to share based off of my experiences from using Agrias on the JP side of Operaomnia. Now, one of my favorite things about Agrias is the fact that she has 3 ways now to prevent the enemy from doing any type of action. Now, one of the ways is kind of like a 50-50 in a way, but I'll get to that here in just a second. So the 3 ways is basically paralysis, silence, and confusion, which is the new one that she got with her LD ability. So with confusion, it is a framed confusion. So if the enemies are unable to cleanse framed debuffs, you're in luck, because that way you will not have to worry about the enemies cleansing that, and you can take advantage of not only the confusion aspect of it, but also you get that increase in brave damage whenever either Agrias or anybody else is dealing brave damage on them, and you also get that extra 10% HP damage delta, which, you know, an extra of an extra is better than nothing in my opinion, right? Now, paralysis is basically the same thing as like confusion. You know, it prevents them from basically doing anything, just as like confusion, right? Confusion just makes it so that it skips their turn. You know, paralysis, same deal. Silence Silence makes it so that they can't use Magic Brave and Brave plus HP attacks, but that does not work if they do melee Brave and or melee Brave plus HP attacks. So that only focuses on just the magical side. That's why I said it's like a 50-50. Magic only, it works. Melee, it does not, right? So still, I still count it as like, you know, she still has 3 different ways of preventing the enemy from doing any type of like actions, or at least like 3 different ways of doing actions, right? So that's why like she is like, she's considered like one of my top 10 favorite units in the game, because like she has so many ways of like preventing the enemy from you know, just in a way like to try to get you out of that tight situation when you know you're not prepared to take a hit and you need to stop the enemy in their tracks to get yourself ready to either try to shave off whatever is about to hit you, or to at least to try to set up to take a hit, right? Agrias is like one of those characters to help you in those tight situations, and that's what I love about Agrias. Now, another plus about her is, you know, she does have some ores in her kit that does benefit the party here and there from her overhead that she now gets if you do manage to get her LD weapon, and she does have a little something from her skill 1, if I'm not mistaken. I think she does provide a little something from her EX ability, if I'm not mistaken. Let me double check. She does. She actually does provide some attack to the party. So she does provide a little bit of ores to the party as well. Her skill 1, if I have not said it already, does battery the party as well. Another thing, speaking of her skill 1 and her skill 2, is that with her LD ability, the fact that you are able to recover skill 1 and skill 2 is a big plus, because that way you know that, you know, you basically have what, like 3 extra uses of your skill 1 and skill 2 after you use your LD ability on Agrias 3 times. So just you know, another reason that you could probably pull for Agrias's LD weapon. But in a way, like, you know, just to kind of like sum it up, like if you're wanting a character that can basically, you know, give you some ores that will prevent the enemy from like doing any type of action where you feel comfortable enough where, like, say like you don't have to bring a tank, but you can bring a utility character that will stop the enemies in their tracks, and you could just keep going in with whatever team comp it is that you are going in with, then Agrias is definitely your woman to put in your team comps for a lot of Lufenias. Like her framed confusion actually really comes in handy in a lot of Lufenias. I can tell you that from experience. And in some of the Lufenias, I really wish I could tell you guys off the top of my head which Lufenias I did bring her, because she's actually super convenient in some of the early Lufenia Plus fights because of that framed confusion, because it does help out in preventing some nasty attacks from actually hitting your team. So, you know, if you're looking for kind of like in a way like a safeguard against enemy attacks, Agrias is definitely a good solid choice in my opinion, and definitely one I'd want to definitely consider for future Lufenia runs and whatnot. So you know, it's definitely one to consider, especially for Lufenia fights where, you know, after a certain amount of actions, you know that the enemy is going to attack. Like say after like 10 actions, the enemy is going to like randomly attack you. Agrias and her debuffs, her confusion or her paralysis or her silence, if they do magical attacks, really comes in handy. I will say that is a big plus about her. Like those really do come in handy, so think about that as well. But other than that though, guys, that's gonna be it for the video. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know what your plans are gonna be for Agrias and her upcoming banner, whether you're gonna be pulling or not. or just in general what you think about her kit now that she is going to be getting her LD and her rework. But other than that, if you guys did enjoy the video, consider liking the video and subscribing for future operaomnia content. And once again, a shout out to Bard for doing me that big favor and that awesome intro for this video. Make sure to check out his social media links down in the description below. And yeah, take care, guys. And I will catch you guys in my next video.